Good evening, Mayor Bentley, councillors and staff. I am Bobbi and Brady, MPP for this beautiful riding of Haldimand, Norfolk. And tonight I have chosen to appear to respond to the motion that was brought forward last Wednesday, barring me from attending the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO delegations with Haldimand County. Just a little over 2 years ago, I threw my hat in the ring to run in the provincial general election. I ran mainly on two platforms. One, to stand up for democracy, to give the people of Haldimand, Norfolk an alternative to political party culture operating by its own unwritten, constantly changing rules. And two, I ran opposing the proposed city of 15,000 homes, 40,000 people at the city of Nanticoke, something I remain opposed to today for a number of reasons. We should be doing all we can as elected officials to ensure the jobs at Nanticoke Industrial Park are retained. Thousands of families in this area pay their bills with those paychecks. But the number one reason I remain opposed is because the majority of people in Haldimand County remain opposed to the idea, and my job as their MPP is to represent their wishes, their desires. I do not know better than these people. They pay my salary, and I will remind councillors, your remuneration is also paid by them as well. Tonight I am here to defend democracy and to stand up for the people who are tired of party politics in special interests suppressing political representation. During last Wednesday's meeting, a councillor made the comment that I was to get an A+ for effort, but that our system of government works against an independent. And another said I needed to play ball. So I'm going to Queen's Park. If I sit there and I stay quiet, is that playing ball? Asking tough questions like why the Caledonia Bridge reconstruction has not begun. My question about an appointment to the Ontario Land Tribunal. My question to the Premier about why he refuses to make life more affordable for the people of Ontario, for the people of this county. Are those the questions that make 5 councillors uncomfortable? I'm going to ask what is likely a rhetorical question. How many councillors have sat through question period at Queen's Park? How many of you know the workings of Queen's Park? How many of you have built connections and relationships for the past 25 years at Queen's Park? I have. And ironically, a few days before this motion came out of left field, a news article was released. Here it is. I was named the #1 rising star of the opposition benches at Queen's Park. That is not an accolade that one gets sitting in silence. In fact, I was voted the opposition rising star from all political stripes, members, staff, Queen's Park media, and lobbyists. None of these people see me as a risk. They see me as someone who is holding the government to account in a professional way. I have friends on all sides of the House. In fact, colleagues from all sides have reached out to me about your motion against me, encouraging me to stand my ground. After some of my tough questions in the legislature, cabinet ministers and government members, they come to me and they thank me for asking the tough questions because they can't, because they have to follow the party line, but they know the question needs to be asked. I asked the 5 councillors who voted in favor of that motion a question. How am I any different as an independent than any other opposition member at Queen's Park, like a Liberal, an NDP, or Green Party member? I've asked colleagues of these stripes if their municipalities see them as a threat, and if their municipalities are barring them from attending AMO. Of course not. I know you find it threatening that Premier Ford told me I'd be out of a job after the next election. You believe he doesn't like me. Well, he seems to take exception to anyone who questions him in the Ontario legislature. You are simply focusing on what he has said to me. The Premier has lost his composure on the Liberal leader, the NDP leader, and others. Their councillors, I reiterate, are not barring them from attending AMO. I should mention that I am different than the other opposition members, though, because I spent 23+ years working with many of them on the government side. I know a few of you councillors have received phone calls from some of your constituents. One of the 5 councillors allegedly told a constituent that at last year's AMO, a conversation was moving along nicely with a cabinet minister until I interjected. That would be a bold-faced mistruth. My job is not to interject at AMO delegations, but rather to sit with the mayor, the CAO, and anyone else who is in that delegation and support them. When the councillor was asked whether he was there At AMO, he responded with no. And when the councillor was pressed on what the subject matter was, ironically, he didn't know. I guess it's tough to be held to account. During debate of the motion, the Caledonia Bridge reconstruction was brought forward. It's been over 18 years that that bridge has sat in disrepair, and I've been the MPP for 2. I have, though, stood 4 times in the Ontario legislature asking about the reconstruction of the bridge, and I have put the ministry on notice that I will continue to stand until that reconstruction begins. And I'm left very confused because the councillor who talked about the bridge is the one who said I should play ball with the government. Does that mean continuing to question or say nothing at all? And I'd be remiss not to point out that one of the councillors has penned several letters to the other and has been outspoken on the issue himself. Rightfully so, and I have supported him. But now I wonder why it's okay for him to question, but I'm expected to sit silent. A few weeks ago, I had a conversation with Ontario's Minister of Infrastructure after she had been in Norfolk County. I've worked with the minister many years, and we have a mutual respect for one another. The minister came to me following her tour in Norfolk, and we had a productive conversation that ended with, could you please come and do the same tour in Haldimand County if they request it? And guess what? I'm sure you're all aware that the minister is scheduled to come to Haldimand County. Prior to the House rising at the beginning of June, another cabinet minister, a key cabinet minister, came to me and said, hey, Bobbi, what is it that you need? So 5 of you think I'm a risk. You think I'm a threat. I question what I'm risking. What threat do I represent? Because you seem to be the only ones who see it. What funding are you not receiving that you have in the past? Funding still flows to this council, to our schools, to our hospitals. It has to flow. If we continue to use the baseball analogy, the motion against me came out of left field. Or did it? It's not lost on many that this peculiar motion brought forward by Councillor Patterson came just a day after this council voted in favour of Empire Homes applying to the province to obtain a ministerial zoning order for the lands at Nanticoke. So I question the true intent of Councillor Patterson's motion, especially given AMO does not take place until August. I am certain Council hasn't even heard which delegations they will receive at AMO. My political instinct also has me questioning who actually drafted the motion. I think that may be interesting to know. There is a cadre of people in this area who are still licking their wounds that I challenged the political party system 2 years ago. The fact that Doug Ford appointed a PC candidate in Haldimand Norfolk in 2022 was a huge blessing in disguise, an opportunity for taxpayers not only in Haldimand Norfolk, but across this province to have the most honest, genuine representation in the Ontario legislature. A colleague of mine in my Christmas card last year wrote, Bobbi, you are what a real politician should look like. In closing, I want the very best for the people of Haldimand Norfolk. Our people here are hardworking. They roll up their sleeves. They put aside their differences just to get the job done. Will I support a city of 40,000 at Nanticoke? No, I won't. But that doesn't mean we can't set aside that difference to work on the things that really matter to our constituents. I've said this in both counties. I can be your biggest advocate and your champion if I am informed. You have a mayor here solely wanting to represent the good people of Haldimand County, and we work well together. Again, that seems to be a threat to some. The people of this county, they are tired of the political games being played by a handful within the community. I am a team player, but I am best for this team when I'm in the game and not sitting at the end of the bench, quiet. Democracy comes from the Greek and means rule by the people. If you had your wish for me to sit in silence, then I ask if you believe in democracy. There are times where silence is as powerful as protest, but I have 25 plus years in the political environment, and I know when to sit silent, and I know when we need to rise up. Motion after motion can be brought forward against me if you wish, but you will not silence me. I will not back down. I will not surrender to a system that is failing these people each and every day. I am on their team, and I want to be their champion. My job as the MPP is not to represent 5 councillors. My job is to represent the 110,000 people of our beautiful riding. It's a job that I do with a great deal of pride and passion. You will not change that. For those of you who are headed to Ottawa in August to AMO, I will see you there.
Thank you, Bobbi. And Darlene, Kinnear. Ms. Kinnear? Oh, thank you. Sorry, Darlene, before we begin, there's a question on the floor from Councillor O'Neill to Bobbi Ann.
Okay. Yeah, through the chair. Apologies, I thought typically we ask the delegate questions right after they speak. So, Bobbi Ann, we appreciate you being here today to share your position on the topic we are discussing. Before I ask any questions, I do want to say that it is very important to me that we communicate clearly here today, and I'm sure you would agree. So if you find my list of questions long or rhetorical, please understand that I just want to make sure the people of Haldimand County and the viewing public are clear on the important details that impact the decision that we're going to be making here this evening. So direct answers would be much appreciated. Okay, starting off, is this the first time you've been a delegate in Haldimand County Chambers since taking office as Haldimand's MPP?
This is the second time I've been a delegate. The first time, you didn't seem to like the fact that I was here opposing the city of 15,000 homes at the Nanticoke Industrial Park. In fact, you tried to silence me that night. I remember it clearly, so this is my second time here.
Thank you. Did you feel the delegation was productive, or were you happy with the results of the vote for your first delegation?
The first delegation when I was here?
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember exactly what the vote was, but we continue to have the M0 in front of us. We continue to go down the same path that we've been going down for the past few years. So I suspect that I was not happy with the outcome. I do not. I will repeat for you, Councillor O'Neill, that a city of 40,000 at the Nanticoke Industrial Park is a harebrained idea.
Okay. All right. After the first vote from your first delegation was passed, did you make any public statements through op-ed pieces, social media posts, or speeches about the Haldimand County decision?
Likely I did. I write 550 words every single week for the newspapers and for anyone who wants to read it, and I have a large readership, and I am certain that I would have written about my time here at council, and I am certain I would have reiterated my disappointment in the fact that despite what the people of Haldimand County want, there are a handful of you who still continue to go down the road of building a city of 40,000.
So it looks like you answered my next question, but I will ask it again. Were the public statements that you made in support or against the Haldimand County Council decision?
They would have been against those who made that decision. And I do that, not out of disrespect, but all of these people are here because they do not like your decision as well. And I represent them.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'll throw back at you. Why do you continue to vote? Do you know better than all of these people? Because the majority of people, they do not agree with this. Three elections have been fought and won on this issue.
I'm going to continue with my questions, but I will actually answer that question because it is so important. I'm very happy I'm so happy you asked this because we're actually going to talk about something now that really I want everyone to hear, okay? So here we go. Now, to address the idea that the major concern of the majority of Haldimand residents, if we can, I'm actually going to go back a little bit here. Sorry, my apologies. All right, we're going to talk about what you had just brought up. We should be in question period. I shouldn't be doing a speech, but just because you did bring it up, I will go ahead. All right, then fine. I'll continue my questions and I'll save the speech for the end, if that's what you prefer. Okay, I can do that. No problem. Sorry. All right, so just to clarify, since taking office as Haldimand Norfolk MPP, have you ever made a public statement such as an op-ed, blog post, social media post, or public speech in support of a Haldimand County decision? Publicly, on record.
I have supported many things. I go out there and I advocate for the Tri-County Water Project. I have spoken about the gas well issues in both Haldimand and Norfolk. I advocate for the reconstruction of the Caledonia Bridge 4 times, and I've supported Councillor Lawrence.
I may not have been clear. Have you went out and supported or been publicly supportive of a decision that we've made, a vote that's been passed in this council? Have you went out and said, I agree with what they did? I'm asking questions. She can give the honest answer. Yes or no?
I write about anything. I talk about anything that I find positive out of both counties. But if we are going to continue to talk about me speaking out against the city of 40,000, I will continue to speak out against that. I will continue to say that it's a bad idea. But when you do something well, I will be the first person, Councillor O'Neill, to pat you on the back. Can you say the same about me?
So to clarify, you haven't, so we haven't done anything well yet because you haven't made any public comments. So just so we're clear, you have made public statements in opposition to this council, but you've never made a statement in support of it.
That is incorrect.
Okay, but you don't have an actual example of a time you had an...
I just listed them.
No,
I just gave you
decision made,
examples.
not
I've
things.
supported Councillor Lawrence when he has gone after the Ministry of Transportation with respect to the Caledonia Bridge
So not
on
a decision
more
we
than
made.
one
Okay.
occasion.
Not a decision we made. All right, I'm going to go into another line of questions here. Have you, in your position as Haldimand Norfolk MPP, formally met with all of the Haldimand County councillors one-on-one?
That is not possible to meet with Haldimand County councillors one-on-one. I would think that would break your bylaws here at the county.
Wouldn't it? All right, okay.
I can read your bylaws because I believe meeting with councillors one-on-one would probably
can't-
not be something very...
You can't meet with us to get an idea of...
So maybe you should go back and read those.
I think I will clarify that, because, again, quorum, please. Like, holy, no respect out there. So to clarify... Okay. All right, I'm going to my next line. I got way more here, so I'm, like, you guys keep yelling all you want. After the 2024 AMO delegation requests were voted at the May 27th, 2024 CIC meeting, did you read out to any councillors to try to discuss a strategy or find out our position before the upcoming delegations?
That strategy is usually articulated right before because your delegations have not even been accepted by the ministry yet. How would there be a plan of attack, Councillor O'Neill, when this council hasn't even heard which delegations you have received?
We have voted on which ones we are requesting.
Voting on which ones you are requesting? You could request 20 and get 2.
Yeah, but why not get ahead of the game? All right, okay.
Once your I don't know if I'm going to actually have those meetings once your delegations are accepted because I haven't been invited to AMO.
Okay. That's the answers we're looking for. Have you ever attended AMO or any other delegations with Haldimand County while you've held your office as Haldimand County MPP?
I attended AMO last year, and I also attended Roma this past winter.
And how many delegations did you attend?
Likely a dozen.
Well, we've only had 11 since we've been sitting in office, so that's
At Roma as
impossible.
well?
Yeah, total delegations 11.
Then I am
you've
wrong
been
on
in
that
every
number.
single delegation.
I cannot give you an exact number, Councillor O'Neill, but I have gone into the delegations that this council and the mayor and the CEO and anyone else within that delegation has asked me to attend. If there are delegations that I choose to sit out, perhaps if there was a delegation about the city of 40,000, would I sit in on that delegation? Likely not, because I can't support you. Every other delegation that I have sat in at AMO or at Roma is because I can support this council in their ask to the respective minister. Have you been at AMO, Councillor O'Neill?
Yes, I have.
How many
I've been
times?
a delegate there. Once.
How about Roma?
I've been to Roma as well, yes.
How many times?
Once. And I had delegations which you were not a part of or approached me being a part of.
Because I was asked not to sit in on those delegations, Councillor O'Neill.
No, I did not never ask you to. You never approached me to say, hey, come in the delegations. So you don't know how many delegations you've sat on since being in for Haldimand County. As MPP, you don't know that number. What? It's a simple question.
Oh, very simple.
Yes or no?
I don't know the number of delegations I've sat through. I sit through delegations for both counties.
Okay.
In fact, I've sat through delegations for other counties as well who actually put their trust in me.
Okay. Well, that's all my questions for today, and I'll have more when we come to the vote.